Hey, everybody. So, welcome to my living room. I don't know. So, I'm going to try out some homebrew. This has been it's fermented for 2 weeks. This is the Dinosaur IPA, which is basically Brooklyn Brew Shop's everyday IPA. Arguably poorly done. This is the first time that I've ever brewed beer in my life. The first time I've ever tried. So I thought I'd give it a shot. Brewed it in my kitchen, as one does. Sat in probably 27, 28 degree heat, maybe a little bit more, for 2 weeks, fermenting. Bottled it a week ago with the help of my son, who's 5, because why not? He likes to help out in the kitchen, so give him a shot. This has been bottled. Just did a gallon of it. Got 9.5 bottles out of it, because the last probably half bottle's worth was nothing but trub, and that looked really gross. So there is a little bit of sediment in here. Let's see if I can get that on camera. Oh yeah, there it is. Sediment. Yeah? Oh, maybe. No, that's actually just a reflection on the screen. There is sediment. Hold it up to the light. It actually might not be that bad in this bottle. Other bottles are arguably worse. So not great. I didn't realize that such things as sock hops. I know about sock hops. Hop socks. Didn't know that I could, instead of putting the hops directly into the wort, didn't realize that I could put it into a muslin bag and do it that way. Didn't realize that was an option, so it's the other bottles are a bit more sedimenty than this one. So questionable how this is going to turn out. So the bottles have been sitting in the same roughly 27, 28 degree cupboard that the carboy was. So we're a little bit closer to the usual temperature range. Well, marginally closer to the usual temperature range that India Pale Ales would have sat in. So there's that. The grains and the hops and the yeast also sat in my cupboard for, I'd say, 2 years. About 2 years before I actually got around to using it. Hence the sobriquet of the Dinosaur. This is very old. Don't know how it's going to turn out. Instead of sweetening and sugaring it with honey, I sweetened it and sugared it with apple syrup, and probably not enough of it. So this may not be fully carbonated. This has only been sitting in the bottle for a week, so we're already under the recommendation for getting it properly carbonated. But as you can see, it's also only about half full. Mine's there, as you can see. So the hypothesis is a half full bottle will carbonate in half the time. This is probably a load of hogwash, but let's find out. I have my trusty glass here. By the way, this is directly from the cupboard. I haven't cooled it. So getting closer to the appropriate IPA conditions, drinking it warm. Also going to be drinking it out of an open mouth glass. Yes, it is my nerdy glass. It says include beer.h because I'm a programmer. So going to be drinking it out of an open mouth glass so that the flavor and the scent and the aroma and everything can be properly opened up. So without further ado, let's open this up. I feel like I'm playing Beer Hunter. Should I be doing one of these? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Can't see that. Okay. Here we go. Let's put that in to see whether or not it explodes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we did get a hiss. There's some carbonation happening. And already I can smell the beer. So that's a good thing, I think. Fortunately, it didn't explode all over everything, but it also didn't get a head on the bottle. It smells like beer. I do, there's that apple syrup smell, so it's a little bit sweeter than I would normally expect an IPA to be. So let's try it. In the glass we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, see that? I don't know if you can see that. There is a track of sediment left in the bottle. Maybe you can see that. But it definitely got into the glass. That beer started out reasonably translucent. Now it is opaque. I do agree with the sentiment. I don't trust a beer I can see through. But IPAs generally aren't one of those beers that you shouldn't be able to see through. So we'll see how this goes. It smells like beer. It smells like appley beer. Cider beer. I don't know. All right. Bottoms up. Sláinte. Very appley. So the apple is strong with this one. Definitely not fully carbonated. It's borderline flat. So definitely at least another week in the cellar before this gets released to the public. It is hoppy. It's pretty bitter. But the apple syrup is offsetting that. It's not bad. I've got a half pint here. This is a pint glass. 16-ounce pint glass. I should clarify because we are in Canada and a pint of beer is 20 ounces. 20 fluid ounces. This is 16 ounces. So I have a liquid pint of beer, a US pint. So, I mean, this isn't going to get me fucked up, but it will, should put a buzz on if it's beer, so bottoms up. Yeah, it's flat. There's a little bit of carbonation on there on the tongue, but fundamentally it's flat. There is an aftertaste. I think that's mostly the hops, the hoppy, faintly sour aftertaste. It is what it is. It's an IPA. It's going to be pretty hoppy. It is leaving that on the swallow. But the apple up front is nice. It's a nice surprise. So we've got about that much left. So yeah, like I said, this is probably about not 8 ounces, maybe 8 ounces. So half a pint of beer that I have no idea how strong it is, because I have none of the apparatus needed to measure that. But let's see. Yeah, this is all right. I feel like it'll probably taste a little more bitter once it's carbonated, just because I find that that's the effect that carbonation tends to have. At least, thinking about like flat water versus soda water. It's bitter, inexplicably. So it'll probably kind of open up that bitterness, maybe open up the flavor a little bit. But I mean, the apple syrup gives it a nice. It really, really sweetens it. Really takes the bite out of what I would have normally expected out of this. Just because even going into the carboy, it was very sedimenty. I mean, when I took the carboy out, it's a gallon carboy, so it's about that high. There's about that much of it, I'd say, was trub at the bottom. I was really surprised that there was any liquid in the trub. Honest to God, I thought it was all just going to be sediment, like hops and grains, completely filtered out the water. But it was still liquid, so that was unexpected. um, but yeah, so I expected this to be much hoppier than it is. Like I said, it's still got that, you know, typically hoppy aftertaste that you get with IPA. So you do know that it's an IPA. You do see that it's an IPA. But yeah, the apple is it's a nice way of opening it up. It's good first experiment with brewing. I think we'll do it again. I've got a case of, well, not a case, a box of the Brooklyn Brew Shop's Bruchelle Blonde sitting in the cupboard. That's been in there for 2.5 years, so somewhat older. The blonde is a little more to my taste. Traditionally, I'm not normally a big fan of IPA, just because I'm not really a big fan of hoppy beer. Also, not a big fan of lager. I'm not a huge fan of Pilsner. I think same kind of thing, very, very hoppy beers. But this is kind of yummy. I can see why people do this, why people brew these themselves. Yeah, I think once the bottles are ready to be, once the other bottles are ready to be drunk from, I'll probably spend block off an evening and then an afternoon, because it took me about 5 hours to brew this. So probably best to assume it'll take about the same amount of time to brew the blonde. So block off an afternoon on a weekend, brew that up, stuff it in the cupboard, and see how that comes out. I mean, at least with the blonde, you expect it to be, completely opaque. But yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, very apple. You really get a lot of that apple in there, which is, like I said, it's nice. It's a nice surprise. It's not what I would normally expect out of an IPA. So it'll be when I share this with my colleagues who inevitably will have watched this. Hey guys and gals, obviously. Anyway, this isn't going to be completely terrible, or I'm a better actor than you realize. Take your pick. We'll see how it goes. No, this should be good. This should be good. I think I'm kind of feeling it already. I mean, in the duration of the video so far, feel a little floaty. So I think it's kicking in. I haven't been slow about drinking it, so we should be feeling this anytime, even though it's only half a pint. All right, really starting to get to the sediment down in the bottom of the glass now. Nummy. Yeah, I think I at least have another kit of beer to brew, so I got one more bit of beer to make, but I can see myself doing this. Bottoms up. Sláinte. Been nice sharing my beer with you. Cheers.